London, the UK, my home, of course. And as always, before we get into the show, we want you guys at home to send in any questions that you may have about the three topics and any other topics for that matter that I spoke about in the introduction there, because we'll try and answer as many of them as possible. So you can head over to all our Roborace social media channels, so Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and find us there and send any questions you have and we'll try and answer them. Okay, well, let's talk about Roborace, because if you don't know about it, I'm not really sure where you've been for the last, I don't even know how long it's been. I've stopped counting, guys. It's been a long while, let me tell you that, because this is the world's first fully autonomous, all-electric racing series, and we are halfway through season beta, which is our developmental series, where all of our competing teams have one final shot at making the best AIs possible, because the first season one, is going to come your way later on this year, and we're very excited about that. And we're waiting for Mission 5. We've been waiting a little while now because the cars are out in their spiritual home over in Las Vegas, which is where the Las Vegas Motor Speedway circuit is, where for the last few rounds now, the cars have been competing, but they're experiencing a heat wave in Las Vegas, and that's being quite problematic for our cars. So Mission 5 is actually on hold at the moment. We'll try and bring that one to you as soon as we possibly can. So stay tuned for some epic racing when we actually get back on track. Okay, well, this episode today, we're talking about the space race, the new era, great 21st space race of the century. Before we get into that, though, let's get you up to speed of the headlines making the news this week.
We've been waiting, and now it's time. Which driver will force their way to the top of the championship? This is London Electric.
Yes, Formula E is returning to London for the first time in 5 years. And ex-Roborace CEO Lucas di Grassi is one of those drivers who cannot wait to get going. And if you're going, have the best time, and good luck to all the drivers taking part this weekend as well. Okay, well, back to the show, because we mentioned it briefly last week, but it seems there is a bit of a tussle going on between some of the world's richest men. It's very exciting. We're absolutely loving it. And 2 weeks ago, we saw the billionaire Sir Richard Branson taking off on his maiden flight to space. His Virgin Galactic rocket plane took off over New Mexico and reached the edge of space. It was incredible. Hello, guys. We have liftoff. We're back in vision with you guys as well. And it was a trip that was 17 years in the making. And Sir Richard Branson himself said it was an experience of a lifetime. I mean, I bet it was. And the whole thing, he said, was just magical. But you don't need me here to tell you about this. Let's just watch it ourselves and see exactly what happened.
5, 3, 2, 1, release.
Fire.
I think we might have some technical issues. Obviously, we didn't have that, thankfully, when Sir Richard Branson launched his rocket into space. Thankfully, that was a smooth takeoff, and they also got back down to Earth pretty safely, quickly as well. Here we go. We have liftoff. Enjoy this, guys.
Welcome to witnesses, you're clear to unstrap. Welcome to space.
To all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream, looking up to the stars. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship, with lots of other wonderful adults looking down to our beautiful, beautiful Earth. To the next generation of dreamers, if we can do this, just imagine what you can do. Wow.
Don't miss effigies.
Oh my God.
Be quiet.
Woo! Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, this is unbelievable. This is too unbelievable. Ah. Wow. Oh, unbelievable.
And please return to your seats and strap in. Approach and re-entry.
Okay.
Get back up.
Followed suit, didn't he, earlier this week with the launch of Blue Origin, a project that has been 20 years in the making, and he didn't venture to space alone.
Command and start. 2, 1.
Go, Jeff, go, Mark, go, Molly, go, Oliver. You are going to space. Oh my goodness, listen to the roar of the BE-3 engine. We are just about to pass through max Q, maximum dynamic pressure.
First up, your booster has landed. Stand by drones. Stand by.
Touchdown. Touchdown. As you can hear, more cheering here.
this is the first step. This is a tiny little step of what Blue Origin is going to do. And what we're really trying to do is build reusable space vehicles. It's the only way to build a road to space. And we need to build a road to space so that our children can build the future. And what that's all about is this planet, and you can see it. When we're up there, you see how tiny this planet's atmosphere is. You know, here it seems big. You look around, it's all around you, and but it's really the small thing supporting all life. So we need to take all polluting industry, all heavy industry, and move it off Earth. This is going to take many decades. But that's what we can do if we have reusable space vehicles. And so this suborbital tourism mission lets us practice that. So we need to do that over and over and over and get as good at running space vehicles as we are as a civilization at running commercial airliners. And then we can have, you know, this dynamic civilization of the future, a better world for all of our kids.
Well, I love that. And Jeff Bezos there looking every bit the cowboy or astronaut or whatever. Anyway, it was great to see Blue Origin there and taking 3 other people to space as well. Space tourism is really here right now. I love to see it. Okay, lastly though, let's talk about Elon Musk, shall we? And him wanting to go where no other man has gone before. To Mars. I mean, despite human beings having an obsession with space and the moon, yeah, Elon Musk wants to go one step further, even to an even more desirable place in our galaxy, and that's the red planet. And actually, this week, NASA confirmed that its rover Perseverance has begun to scan Mars for signs of life, because they want to gather as much information as possible so they can see if there was evidence of life, or potentially learn about how to preserve life on Earth even better. We'll bring you more on this as we get even more information. But for now, literally, watch this space. Okay, let's move on right now. We have even more space news for you, because just 3 days after SpaceX fired off the massive booster rocket for its new Starship spacecraft in a short first for its kind test for the company's ambitious new launch system. This is the latest in a series of prototypes for SpaceX Starship program, which aims to develop a fully reusable launch system for trips to the moon, Mars, and beyond. Everything is happening. Well, I'm very excited to introduce our next guest. He's a space expert. It's Eli Burton, and he actually hosts the Space News YouTube channel, and he has the Starman report on that channel. So, Eli, welcome to the show. You're the exact person we need to have on here this week to chat all things the new space race, because it's going off quite literally around the world, or more in particular America, isn't it? Before we kind of get into that, tell me a bit more about your background and the YouTube channel that you host yourself.
So I'm a longtime space advocate. I've been obsessed with space ever since I was a kid, watching the Apollo 13 movie. But really for me, it turned on in 2018 when Elon Musk sent the Falcon Heavy into space with the Tesla Roadster and Starman that you see in this background image behind me. I got so inspired by that, I started by creating a graphic novel series called The Adventures of Starman. And now that's morphed into, I have my own weekly news show on YouTube called The Starman Report, where basically I take the most exciting things that are happening, package it into a couple short bite-sized videos so the average person can stay up to date with what's going on without being drowned in all the boring details.
So I guess the headline for your next episode, whenever that may be, is going to be what happened only a couple of days ago now. Jeff Bezos, tell us a little bit about how excited you were with that news and what happened there.
Yeah, so on the 20th, Bezos went up to space with his crew. He did pass the Kármán line, as Blue Origin likes to highlight, and making him and his company now an official spacefaring organization. I mean, this is both. I mean, in the same 2 weeks, we had both Branson go up with his Spaceship 2, and now Bezos with his New Shepard rocket. And what we're really seeing is the beginning of commercial spaceflight, tourist spaceflight. You know, to date in human history, only 600 people have ever seen Earth from space. And in not too many years, that number is going to double, triple, and then grow exponentially. And I find that super exciting.
Yeah, okay, we're going to continue with that, but I want to talk about who was on Bezos's rocket ship. We're going to go with rocket ship as well, because I believe now the youngest person ever to travel in space as well, Oliver Demon. What do you know about this guy?
I don't know much about Oliver personally, but probably the most interesting part is who he took the record from as the youngest man in space. He's 18 years old. The person who previously held the record was 25, and his name was Yuri Gagarin, also the first human being in space. So he dethroned a guy with quite a record, quite a title, quite a place in history. And the date of the launch was significant too. It was on the anniversary of the Apollo moon landing. So Bezos went to space on the same day that Neil Armstrong first set foot on the moon.
That's pretty cool fact. I love that, actually. You mentioned, though, Eli, you mentioned about commercial space travel, and you said it's possibly not going to happen, or it's going to happen, sorry, very soon. It obviously happened a couple of days ago because Bezos took his brother, I believe, an 82-year-old pilot, and then this youngster, the 17-year-old Oliver D-Man. When are we going to see others go up for fun? Obviously, it's going to be very expensive, right?
Well, so the next one coming up is SpaceX Crew Dragon has a commercial flight, the Inspiration 4 mission, which I believe the guy paid, it was either $80 or $100 million for. They're going into orbit. They're going to spend quite a bit more time in space, so that's part of the cost. That's the next full commercial crewed flight, and this one is not a test flight. Right, this is a completely paid for private crew, not being organized by the founders and select guests. So now we have SpaceX, Virgin, and Blue Origin all delivering commercial private flights, and it's all happening this year. I mean, Blue Origin's got a couple more scheduled this year, so does Spaceship Two and Virgin Galactic. So this is going to start becoming a really regular occurrence.
It's absolutely amazing, of course. Let's go back to Blue Origin then, and its kind of launch into space and what it achieved only a couple of days ago. Did you watch it? Where did you watch it from? What were your thoughts? And was there anything that was unexpected for yourself?
I watched it live, so I'm here on the West Coast, so I actually watched it from my bedroom because it was kind of early in the morning. I'd say the coolest part about that launch was Wally Funk. She was a NASA astronaut from the Mercury era, never got a chance to go into space. So getting to see that still happen in her lifetime, that dream become fulfilled, something that I'm sure she thought was just a missed opportunity that was never going to come true, you know, especially being a woman, caused her to be passed up for going to space. To see that come to fruition, I think was probably the highlight of the event.
It seems that Elon Musk wants a one-way ticket to Mars. Can you elaborate on this and the fact or why Mars is so important to him instead of the moon, for example?
So Elon is famous for making the statement that he wants to die on Mars, just not on impact. And in other interviews and statements he's made it very clear that the fundamental driving force for him for his life is that, you know, back when he was a child, he had this major existential crisis of what's the meaning of life. And he couldn't find an answer, but that he believed that if he could help extend human consciousness out beyond Earth, that at least we would be closer to getting there. So for him, his entire mission is to see humanity get there. And for him, his final completion of that act will be to go there, and that be where he ends his life. It's a very lonely quest, even for one that he doesn't even think he's going to find the answer to the meaning of life. He just thinks humanity has a better chance of getting it if we expand our life into the universe.
Very deep thinking, but yeah, I love that. Which person, individual, company do you love seeing do these great things?
I enjoy Richard Branson because he's a fun adventurer, and I think they captured that vibe with Spaceship Two. But really the one that is actually exciting is SpaceX. I mean, the technological evolution and revolution happening there is second to none. I mean, what Spaceship Two did with the space plane that they've made is great because they're giving a less expensive way for people to get to space. But that's not new technology. In fact, it's the same technology that Chuck Yeager used to break the sound barrier 50 years ago. Blue Origin does have a landable rocket, but still they're only suborbital. SpaceX is landing orbital boosters. They're developing Starship, which has the contract to be the moon lander. They're doing space at faster, cheaper, and developing rockets in a shipyard. I mean, what they're doing gives us a real chance to make a dent into space. That feeling that was captured in the Apollo era that like our parents and grandparents talked about, SpaceX is the only one that can deliver that. So that's where I'm following most closely, and I think by far what's going to be the most exciting.
My final question to you actually is, might put you on the spot, but what has been the most symbolic moment, apart from Wally Funk, over the last 2 weeks for you from what we've witnessed?
Oh man, that is a really great question. I mean, Wally Funk was probably the highlight of it, so I know you took the biggest one off the table. But I think overall that we had a very short time period where space got its attention in the mainstream media. Yeah, there was a lot of noise and distraction about, oh, these guys are billionaires. Shouldn't this money have gone to feeding people or other better causes? But I think probably the most symbolic thing is we've put space on the map in the mainstream in a way that has not gotten enough attention. And quite frankly, for all of SpaceX's achievements, has barely been covered in the past. But I think we're now saw the beginning of that changing because there's now competition, quote unquote. There's now multiple participants, and the media can now sell a story of a race. And everybody loves competition in a race. So I think that's probably the most symbolic, big, long-term outcome looking back at these 2 weeks that's going to be remembered.
Yeah, for sure. It's in the media now. And I guess for us mere mortals, it makes it more accessible, possibly, and closer than we think. I think that's what I've kind of taken from it, that actually, maybe if we're lucky one day, we could go to space as well. And I mean, wouldn't that be something?
And that's something, I mean, by the way, technologies always start out for rich people, right? There has to be early adopters that pay the highest price. Flat screen televisions, when they first came out, were $20,000. And now they cost $500 for a 4K, plasma, flat screen. So the costs will come down as things scale. Maybe someday it becomes $50,000 for a flight on Virgin Galactic to space. Is that a lot of money? Yeah. But can a lot of us reach that in our lifetime by pulling out later from our retirement? Absolutely.
I love that. I've heard it here from Eli first. Possibly one day we can go to space for $50,000. That would be awesome. Eli, thank you for chatting to us today, for your time, and good luck with the Starman report. I'm going to have to come and check you out on YouTube now because I'd like to learn more about it. I think this has completely whetted my appetite as well, and especially the last couple of weeks. So yeah, thank you so much for spending some time with us this afternoon.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Right, we're back in a fortnight's time for another episode of Inside the Circuit, Thursday, August the 5th at 10 a.m. PST and 6 p.m. BST. And Mission 5, I promise, will be confirmed very soon, and you guys will be the first to know about it. Can't wait for that in 2 weeks' time. Right, but guys, that unfortunately is all we have time for tonight's show. We really hope you enjoyed it. I loved this one, and I absolutely loved talking to Eli. And I did say I'm going to go and check out the YouTube channel later on this evening. And I unfortunately can't answer many of your space-related questions, but I can, and our team can answer all your Roborace ones, your tech, or your auto ones. So as I mentioned at the top of the show, find us on social media somewhere. We're all over it at Roborace on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. Come and find us. Ask any questions you might have, and we'll try and answer them either in the next fortnight or on next time's show. And hopefully, fingers crossed, the heat wave will calm down in Vegas, and we'll be bringing you Mission 5 very, very soon. But guys, really hope you've loved this show tonight. We've loved bringing it to you, and we'll see you all very soon. Goodbye.